Now to Shawn Townsend. A 9-5 start on the high bar. Can he possibly mount an assault on the leadership role in these USA Gymnastics Championships? We'll find out. Oh.
And the answer to that is no. He struggled day one, was back on track in his first event here on the high bar, but that fall will cost him an entire point.
Tim, you've said he looks tired. He disagrees. Give me an idea. What is his schedule like as the U.S. champion?
Well, he's not just the U.S. champion. That's the key thing. He is the world champion on the parallel bars. So gymnastics, it is a sport that's judged. And so opinions come into play. USA Gymnastics is trying to capitalize on that title. He is the ambassador for the sport right now. He has to travel all over the world, and he just doesn't have time to upgrade some of the routine with the rule changes. But a dismount like that shows you just how good Shawn Townsend is, but it is not going to happen at these 2002 U.S. Nationals for Shawn Townsend.
And you can tell in his body language, he knows it. He knows this was not a 9-5. This was not even close. This was not something that was going to keep him in the running.
And, you know, on top of that, trying to unveil some new elements, it's been very difficult because he doesn't have an opportunity to show these skills at minor events. These are all big-time events that Shawn Townsend's in. He's hoping that these routines will be his routines for next year and the Olympic Games.
That will be an 8.325, and that would just about shut the door on any hopes of a return to the national championship. Meanwhile, Paul Hamm, like Shawn Townsend, started well with a 9.7. And before that 9.7, he had almost a full point lead on the national championship. And with the American flag as a backdrop, he's on the rings.
Blaine's got to pick a little bit up on Paul, and he will on this event. Remember, it's all about upper body strength, and Paul very strong, but some of the positions are not as exact. He should be a little bit lower on that Maltese. And actually on this cross, he's a little bit low, so he kind of gets tensed apart in this exercise just a little bit.
He did score a 9.325 on the first night of competition.
Well, he's very good and he's very strong, but I tell you, the rules nowadays, you've got to be an animal to get a gigantic score on rings.
Why is it exactly, guys, that in this sport that was built upon perfect tens, that they have it such that you cannot get, or it is almost impossible to get, a perfect 10?
Well, it is all about comparisons. They want to make sure that if somebody does something a little bit harder, a little bit more beautiful, that there is a way to differentiate that athlete from the other person. The problem is when you are so technical like that, you take away a lot of the magic in the sport, which is the artistry.
Sho Nakamori from Albany, California, at the age of only 16, trying to make a mark in these national championships. Paul Hamm receiving a score of 9.325. Now, we've said we're trying to find the drama here a little bit. We've seen first, we've seen second. We're trying to see who might also medal here, and there's Nakamori's vault.
Very nice. Full and a half twisting Yurchenko. There are a handful of juniors in this competition that have made the jump into the senior ranks, and he is one of the most promising athletes that the USA has.
And Sho was actually junior national champion last year on this event.
The thing he's got going for him, he is so clean. His body doesn't incur the natural deductions. He's got a good-looking body for the sport.
And both his parents were competitive gymnasts back in Japan.
Speaking about competitive gymnasts and their parents, here's Clay Strother from Jasper, Texas, age of 21. He's wearing maroon. That's a very familiar color in the family known as Roethlisberger. John, a three-time U.S. Olympic team member, is here judging the competition as Clay is about to compete. And I don't know, can you put into words what this means to Clay to be up here in the national championships knowing that John is right there judging him?
Well, his hero, his idol.
Yeah, Clay says that John is his role model. He finds him incredibly motivational. And he said that John Roethlisberger was one of the hardest working gymnasts he has ever met, and he absolutely idolizes that.
Clay is a very clean gymnast, takes his time with elements, but he doesn't have the difficulty on this event. Actually, maximum score he can get. Beautiful double pike, though. Nice opening. That's what the judges are looking for. Maximum score he can get here is a 9.2, even if John's a good friend of his.
You got to figure off of that performance that he'll drop down from 6th place. Meanwhile, you've got to figure that Paul Hamm's lead is in good shape. So basically what's happened is that we have a two-man race, barring something totally unforeseen and a total disaster. But Paul Hamm's got to be thinking, I have an 0.8 of a point lead. I know I just gave up 0.6. And if he were able to hold off Blaine Wilson, this would be the greatest thing he's ever done, right?
It would be remarkable, but it is all according to plan. He and Stacy Maloney, from day one, they have been shooting for this national championships. The next goal is being an all-around medal winner at either the Worlds or the Olympic Games. All part of the plan.
And Elfie, Blaine, coming back from all these injuries, has got to be looking at getting 0.6 back in one rotation as being a fabulous infusion of belief that he can pull it off with 4 to go.
Yeah, absolutely. He knows that he can pick up a few more tenths in the remainder of the competition. He has arrived at this event in the best shape possible. Blaine does not like to lose to anyone, especially if the athlete is younger than him.
Who does? Paul Hamm will take his lead to the vault after this at the USA Gymnastics Championships. Back in Cleveland, Ohio, Al Trowick, Tim Daggett, Elfie Schlegel. These are the USA Gymnastics Championships. And this is the man right now. Paul Hamm on the vault after a 9.7 and a 9.325.
Doing the most difficult vault in the competition. Maximum score is a 9.9. This is relatively new for Paul. It's a Kazamatsu with a 4.5 twist, 2.5 times around.
Step on the landing. Now, Tim and Elfie, Blaine is in this same group as they move around Gund Arena. He's having his leg worked on. He tweaked his knee a little bit earlier. Is it better to be next to your main competition or not?
I would say so, definitely. He can see exactly what Paul's doing. Doesn't have to wonder where he is around the gym. But like I said, very difficult vault from Paul. Just that step off to the side, but that's going to get a big number.
And you see the lines on the mat. They're there for a reason to judge the extent of the error. He gets a 9.525, however. And in this competition right now, that is a very big number.
Yeah, Blaine's going to have a hard time getting a better score than that, even if he is successful with his vault. Tweaked that knee prior to competition in day one, and then of course hurt his ankle as well.
Now Morgan Hamm, 9.3, 8.65. He's coming back from an injury.
Yeah, it's been well over a year. No surgery in his particular injury. He opted for no surgery, said it would be a longer recovery, but is happier for it. It's been a year and a half. His last competition actually was an international event that took place in March of 2001.
Same vault as Paul, minus a half twist, and very nicely done, clean in the air. That's also going to get a good number. His injury was of the nerve sort, and his coach Stacy Maloney said the most frustrating thing is you can't do anything for it. You can't make it get better faster.
You just have to wait for it to regenerate.
Exactly. It's got to grow back. Lands a little bit maybe outside that line. That's going to be a tough call as to whether he was over the line or not. Score says no.
9.425. We go to Blaine Wilson, whose turn it is next.